Hello there, welcome to the Perfume Experience. Welcome back to another fragrance review. Today we are going to talk to you about one of the Middle Eastern fragrances called as Khadlaj, and I'm talking about from the house of Khadlaj, I'm talking about Gaith. Now this is a very popular fragrance and it's an alt of a very popular Dior fragrance, and we're going to talk all about it today in this particular video. Plus I'm going to make a comparison to this. So if you kind of know this, then you kind of already know what fragrance from Dior I'm talking about. But before we get on to the video, actually if you like the Middle Eastern must try fragrances video, then definitely drop a comment and let me know if you want to watch one that is made for Indian houses too, right? So you're watching the Perfume Experience. My name is Rodney. Let's get going right after this intro. Alright, so welcome back, and like I said, we're going to talk about a Gaith from the house of Khadlaj. Now this is a flanker that comes like this, and it's got a very basic paper box that kind of looks like this. Nothing great about it. Basic paper box, and it's 100 ml or the Perfume concentration. Now unlike Ahmad Al Maghrabi fragrances, it actually doesn't talk about the concentration on this particular thing, but it looks pretty potent as such, right? Now this Khadlaj as a house is from Middle East, is basically a Dubai based house, and they have a lot of fragrances, and we've reviewed quite a few in the recent few days. Like Karus is very nice, and of course you know the popular Shiaka Blue, Shiaka Silver and so forth. We do have the Artist Epoch coming as well, so I will review that as well in a few days time. But right, let's talk about this particular fragrance, and let's do a couple of sprays first, right? So I've been testing this since last few days, and I kind of like the particular fragrance because it's a very nice DNA. If you like loud, masculine, very strong kind of fragrances, then this is a fragrance that you should definitely consider, right? So yes, you get right at the top, you do get kind of a spicy element. That's the most predominant thing that you do get, like some kind of a peppercorn kind of an element, along with a little bit of a citrusy vibe that's coming into this particular fragrance. Now this particular fragrance has actually got a freshness as well, and that freshness is something that is very very mysterious to this particular fragrance. Gives a lot of depth, and in the heart notes you do get a kind of a smoky effect to it, some kind of a incensey effect as well, and of course it's got some woody elements to it, which makes that a little bit of a loud woody kind of a fragrance. Now although that is being said, it's also got some amount of sweetness as well, and a little bit of a mild undertone of some kind of a vanilla sweetness kind of a thing, which is very intoxicating. Overall it's a fragrance line that you'll absolutely enjoy because it's very loud and very nice. It's one of those fragrances that you can wear for evening wear. You can wear it if you want to go to a party, you can wear it for weddings and all of that, and this is actually fab. Now from a notes point of view, this is a fragrance that actually opens with ginger. Okay, now that's the freshness that I was talking to you, because that is going to play a very important role when we compare this particular fragrance. Now ginger along with pepper and pink pepper, okay, so that's the predominant or top notes of this particular fragrance, and in the middle or the heart notes is where you actually have incense. Now along with the incense you actually have lavender, which gives that powderiness, and you also have cypress, and in the dry down you actually have patchouli, you have vanilla, and you also have labdanum. Now that's where this particular fragrance really plays out, because of that vanilla and patchouli coming together to give you that spicy element as well, right? Now that's predominantly how you go by notes, but what you kind of smell is basically a slight sweetness, you have a little bit of a freshness, you have a undertone of vanilla playing in the background, and then of course you have some spicy elements, which is basically your pepper, your pink peppers coming together, along with labdanum also giving that spicy element, with patchouli, which is also giving that earthy touch to it, the spicy element along with the green herbaceous vibe, and of course the lavender playing that soft centered one note, which is holding all of these together with the incense. Now whenever you think about incense, you should also understand that it's not the Middle Eastern type of incense. Now this is the type of incense that's used very nicely in fragrances like Bleu de Chanel and of course Dior as well. Now this particular fragrance Gaith is an alternate of the Dior Sauvage Elixir. Okay, now the Elixir is a very popular fragrance, and most people know it's a beast mode kind of a fragrance. So a few sprays and you are done for the whole day. It's loud, it projects like crazy, and that's the case with this one as well. You don't need a lot of sprays, you just need a few sprays, and it projects like really more than 3.5 feet, and the first part of the projection lasts for hours together, and on the skin and on apparel this will do a full day. Now when I say a full day, come back after 8-9 hours of office use or even slightly outdoor use as well, and you will still be able to sniff the fragrance pretty good. It's not skin scent even at that point of time. Even after about 8-9 hours it is pretty loud, which is fantastic in my opinion. Now one of the differences that you will of course notice is after the 3-hour mark, the top notes which we were talking about, the peppercorns, or you're talking about ginger, or you're talking about the incensey vibe along with cypress and lavender, that kind of fades away after the 3-4 hour mark. After that what you kind of get is the vanilla along with the patchouli, and of course the labdanum, which is giving that woody, that kind of thing. Slight hints of incense still hover around the fragrance, and that continues to be there, and there's a little bit of a sweetness that continues to be there till the very end. So of course, yes, it's a scent that is going to be absolutely liked, and it's a fabulous fragrance. Now I do have the OG as well. I have a small decant of this Sauvage Elixir. It's a pretty expensive fragrance. I think it retails to about 19,000 rupees, and the decant itself, this is hardly 5 ml, and I think I paid about 1,000 rupees for it roughly. So it's a pretty expensive fragrance as such. Now when I did a side-by comparison between these two, one of the differences that I can tell you, in the OG, right, the ginger is very light, very airy, okay, and the pepper element is very, very nice. Now that is not being replicated here that very well. You do get the ginger, but you get a little bit a thicker, denser version of the ginger, and not the lightness that you get in the OG. But again, then there are no complaints, because this is about 19,000 rupees for about 100 ml, and this kind of, you get about 2,000 rupees for 100 ml. So that's not, but we are talking about differences in notes and differences in profile that you kind of get. Aside to that, the other difference is that this particular fragrance is heavy on the vanilla part, and also the sharpness that comes from ginger and incense. Okay, now though, because I said it's dense, so that continues to be there, and that heaviness is of course there, which works in its favor, because this particular fragrance becomes loud and it lasts for a long time, just like the OG as well, right? But the OG has got that sharpness, it's got that little bit of that frail airiness to it, it's got that sophistication which Gaith lacks a bit. But then, what is the other competition that we have? Now the comparison for this particular fragrance is the Lattafa Asad, which is also apparently the Sauvage Elixir clone, and I do think it is, because some people differ to agree on this. However, the subtle differences are between the two is that this is, I feel, is a little more vanilla heavy. Okay, now when I say that, what I mean is in the opening it doesn't have the same sharpness as the OG has, so the sharpness point of view is similar in both the fragrances, but I feel this becomes a little more softer, faster, and gets to that vanilla note a little more faster than Gaith. Now let's say Gaith goes to the vanilla note in about 4 hours time, this one does about 3 hours to 3 hours 15 to 30 minutes time, right? So the slight differences there, but after a few minutes, let's say about 1 hour after you worn the fragrances, you hardly find any differences between the two. And I would go on to say that you will probably find differences after 6-7 hours, where this one is still more louder compared to this. Now in fact, when you put it on side by side together at the opening, you will kind of think both of them are similar. You don't really find a lot of differences between the two. They are very, very loud in the way they project and the way they smell. One difference that I've been able to find is this is a little more sharper in, though with those dense notes, you kind of get a little more sharper opening. This I feel is a little more denser opening. Now there are also rumors that in the recent batches, this is watered down. People don't get that kind of performance, but this is an older bottle that I've had, and I kind of get a very good kind of performance, and I've always been happy about it. But nonetheless, I think you should always give time to your fragrances to mature, and they kind of, work well. And I've recently had one encounter with somebody like that, and I've told him to try, and after a certain time the performance becomes better. right? So between the two, what would I pick? You can actually go by anything because both of them are, I think, a similar price band. This is about 1500 rupees. I think you should easily get this about 1500 rupees now. This is, I think, about 1800 to 2000 rupees or about that price, maybe about 1800 rupees maximum. I don't recollect how much we exactly paid for it, but both of them are available in decants in case you want to try. Now, if I had to pick up one between the two, I think I would lean a little against, towards this, because this lasts a little longer for me than this, right? So you kind of get about 8 hours of performance between the two, and that's why I decided to do a comparison along with a review for this particular fragrance, right? So that's what I thought about Khadlaj Gaith, which is an alternative of Dior Sauvage Elixir, and so is Lattafa Asad. Now, from a presentation point of view, of course, this is a much better presentation. Looks much more nicer, though it's that tacky plasticky thing. This is a metal body, and the cap is also pretty good. Very heavy cap on this one. Overall, it's a very good fragrance. But if you're looking for Sauvage Elixir clone, now you do have quite a few options like Enigma, also as I think Yune as one of them. But overall, I feel a lot of people always lean towards Lattafa Asad. Now you can definitely consider another option, which is Khadlaj Gaith, which is almost the same when you compare in the air. After about the first 30-40 minutes, they both smell same. The only thing is this is a little more sharper compared to this and lasts a little longer, maybe about an hour more compared to this. Again, now this performance for me is mostly in Bangalore weather, which is mostly decent and mostly indoor use and all of that. It works very well. In your city, the humidity level, your skin temperatures, I mean your chemistry might be different and you might get a slightly varied response. But yes, both of them are loud fragrances, both of them are absolute masculine fragrances, and if you want to wear something dark, something unique, something very macho for some parties, weddings and all of that, you can definitely consider a good alternative of Dior Sauvage between the two. Right? So if you like the video, please hit the like button, subscribe and share, and do let me know your thoughts and which are the masculine fragrances you would like me to try. And I will see you on another video. Until another time, take care. Bye now.